Hi, we're Shakespeare Art Studio. I'm Phoebe.
And I'm Phoebe's mum, Francesca. We've been coming up with ideas for you to try at home.
Find us on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to paint and decorate a wooden box. If you don't have a wooden box at home, I suggest you use a shoebox, a picture frame, or even an old chair. So step one, we're going to sand the box to get any blemishes off and so it's a nice smooth surface to paint onto. So step two is actually deciding what to paint. I went back to a trip to India I did to Rajasthan, and I had all these beautiful pictures of floral designs. For this one I've actually looked at more like Scandinavian folk art and also Charleston House, which was the country home to Vanessa Bell. This is my collection of references and I wanted to incorporate animals in particular into this design. According to the shape of box you've got, draw onto it and then copy it into your sketchbook over and over again. You can test out different designs and see what you prefer. I think a lot of it has to do with building confidence in what you've chosen to draw and really kind of understanding what you want to put onto the box before you even start. What I'm doing is I've actually created a stencil and I'm copying that into my sketchbook so I can then go ahead and design onto the sketchbook, later transferring my design on the box. So picking colours is always going to be quite difficult because there's so many different directions that you can go. What I'd do is I would suggest using one of your references that you particularly like as a colour palette. I liked this one here, which is this beautiful illustration of a bird. And I love the way that the kind of more earthy tones work with alongside the blue. I've been testing out different designs and working with a very selected colour scheme. So when it comes to painting your box, I suggest you use whatever you've got, whether it's an old can of white emulsion or I'm actually using the end of these tester pots for my colour. And this will create a lovely smooth layer for you to then illustrate onto. I started to draw onto my box with pencil and then one colour at a time I've been filling in my illustration. There are several ways in which you can kind of work into a design. Use the back of a pencil or paintbrush to create shapes like dots and lines. So you dip it in like this and then you print down onto the page and you get perfect little dots. You just need to make sure you have enough paint on your pencil. Another thing you can do is create kind of leaf shapes by making sure you have a nice loose liquidy consistency and then basically starting in the middle and drawing up and you can kind of get a stemming shape. So the best way to do leaves is in two tones, a light tone and then a dark tone to make the shadow. So as you can see I've used a light green for the base colour, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add like a darker line underneath the leaf so it has a shadow like this. Following the shape of the leaf that I've drawn. So when it comes to mistakes, if you catch them early, you can use a bit of wet tissue to actually wipe it off. Once you've painted onto the box, you can use a rubber to take off the pencil line underneath. So what you can do is mix some kind of like dirty coloured paint and then splatter it onto the box by flicking your paintbrush, and it will give it a slightly more rustic, aged look, which is quite nice. It pulls it back. And there you are, there we have a painted box.